The Zodiac Killer. Just hearing that name brings shivers to most people and raises their fears. He is one of the most notorious serial killers in American history, and the letters he wrote to the media and police remain one of the most chilling and mystifying aspects of the case. Are we any closer to deciphering the meaning of those letters and unveiling the killer's identity? The Zodiac Killer is one of the most notorious serial killers of all time, and is believed to have killed at least 5 people in the San Francisco Bay Area in the late 1960s. The Zodiac Killer's identity remains unknown to this day, but he is well known for sending a series of encrypted letters to the media and police in order to taunt them and keep himself in the spotlight. The Zodiac Killer wrote a total of 4 letters, each of which contained a cipher or code. The letters contained threats and allusions to the murders he had committed, and the code contained details about the victims and their locations. The first letter was sent to the Vallejo Times-Herald and contained a 408-character cipher. This cipher was solved by Donald and Betty Hardin of Salinas, California in 1969, revealing a gruesome message about the murders of David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen. On the evening of December 20th, 1968, 2 high school sweethearts, David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen, attended a Christmas concert at Vallejo Senior High School in Vallejo, California. After the concert, they decided to drive to a popular makeout spot in nearby Benicia. They never made it. When the couple failed to return home, their parents filed a missing persons report with the police. The next morning, their bodies were found in a dirt turnout off Lake Herman Road. David had been shot in the head, and Betty Lou had been shot 5 times and partially undressed. At first, the police suspected that the couple had been killed by a jealous ex-boyfriend. But the investigation quickly shifted when a witness reported seeing a vehicle at the murder scene that matched the description of one owned by the Zodiac Killer. The first of these letters, commonly referred to as the Zodiac Letter, was sent to the San Francisco Chronicle in 1969. The letter was postmarked on July 31, 1969, and contained a 408-symbol cipher which the killer claimed would reveal his identity. The letter also contained a message which read, "I like killing people because it is so much fun. It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest because man is the most dangerous animal of all." This letter would be the first of several sent by the killer over the next few years. The Zodiac Killer's cipher was eventually cracked by 3 people working independently: Donald Hardin, a teacher from Salinas, California, a husband and wife team from the San Francisco Bay Area, and a computer scientist from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. The decoded cipher revealed a chilling message which read, "I am the killer of the 2 teenagers last Christmas at Lake Herman. I shall call myself Zodiac." The second letter was sent to the San Francisco Chronicle and contained a 340-character cipher. This cipher was also solved by the Hardins, revealing details about the murders of Darlene Ferrin and Michael Mageau. On the evening of July 4, 1969, 2 young adults, Darlene Ferrin and Michael Mageau, were sitting in a parked car in a deserted Vallejo, California parking lot when their lives were tragically cut short by a gunman. The couple had been shot at point-blank range by an unknown assailant. Darlene Ferrin was pronounced dead at the scene, and Michael Mageau, who had been shot 4 times, was rushed to the hospital where he eventually recovered. For the next decade and a half, the police investigated the murder of Darlene Ferrin and Michael Mageau but were unable to identify the killer. It was not until 2001, when the DNA from the crime scene was matched to that of the infamous serial killer, the Zodiac Killer, that the case was finally solved. The letter, which was sent to the San Francisco Chronicle in 1969, is written in a menacing tone and is filled with coded messages. It reads, "This is the Zodiac speaking. I am Crackerjack with a few bombs and guns, so don't try to catch me because it will be the worst mistake you ever made. I am wanted for questioning by the police and have been given the name Zodiac by the newspapers." The letter goes on to describe the killer's modus operandi, which included shooting and stabbing victims. He also claimed responsibility for a series of unsolved murders in the area. He also made a chilling promise to pick off a couple of people in the upcoming year. The letter is significant because it marks the first time the killer identified himself as the Zodiac, a pseudonym that would become synonymous with fear and dread in the Bay Area. It is also notable because it contains coded messages that have yet to be deciphered. The Zodiac Killer's reign of terror ended in 1974 when he stopped sending letters and ceased committing murders. To this day, his identity remains a mystery. He is thought to have killed at least 5 people, though some believe the number may be higher. The third letter was sent to the San Francisco Chronicle and contained a 20-symbol cipher. This cipher was never solved, but contained references to the murders of Paul Stine and Sherry Jo Bates. The murders of Paul Stine and Sherry Jo Bates are 2 of the most notorious unsolved cases in the United States. Both victims were young college students, and their deaths remain a mystery more than 50 years later. The murder of Paul Stine occurred in October of 1969 in San Francisco, California. Stine was a graduate student at San Francisco State University and was on his way home from a night class when he was shot and killed in the Presidio Heights neighborhood. The police found Stine's body in his car and determined that he had been shot 3 times in the head. The second victim, Sherry Jo Bates, was murdered in October of 1966 in Riverside, California. Bates was a freshman at Riverside City College and was found dead outside the college library. She had been stabbed multiple times and her throat was cut. Her murder remains unsolved to this day. The 2 murders have been linked due to similar details in the cases. For example, the police found a note at the scene of Stine's murder that was signed Zodiac. This same name was also written on a note that was found near the scene of Bates' murder. Additionally, the murders occurred within a short period of time and in the same area of California. Despite the similarities, no one has been able to definitively connect the 2 murders. In the summer of 1969, the Zodiac mailed his third letter to the San Francisco Chronicle, and it remains one of the most infamous documents in criminal history. The letter, written in a childlike scrawl, was an elaborate threat to the citizens of the Bay Area. In it, the Zodiac promised to wipe out a school bus full of kids if his demands were not met. He also included a complex cipher, which he said contained his identity. To date, the cipher has never been decoded. The letter was a chilling reminder of the Zodiac's ability to manipulate the public and the media. He seemed to enjoy the attention his letters generated, and the third letter was no exception. In it, he bragged about his previous murders, claiming he had killed many people. He also boasted that he was able to evade the police, and he warned that the police were not capable of catching me. The tone of the letter was peculiarly boastful, but it was also frighteningly confident. It was clear that the Zodiac was in control, and he was determined to stay that way. The third letter was the last communication from the Zodiac Killer that was ever received by the public. In 1971, the Zodiac sent 2 more letters to a San Francisco newspaper, but they were never printed. The fourth and final letter was sent to the San Francisco Examiner and contained a 13-symbol cipher. This cipher was never solved, but contained references to the murders of Kathleen Johns and Brian Hartnell. The letters sent by the Zodiac Killer remain some of the most mysterious and chilling documents related to the case, and are still studied by historians and cryptographers. The codes contained in the letters may never be completely solved, but they provide a fascinating glimpse into the mind of a killer. The fourth letter written by the infamous Zodiac Killer has finally been revealed after years of speculation. The letter, written in April 1970, was sent to the San Francisco Chronicle and became known as the "My Name Is" letter. The letter contained a 3-part cipher, which the killer believed would prove his identity. The cipher contained a set of symbols and characters, which the Zodiac Killer claimed could be translated into his true identity. This cipher has been cracked numerous times, but the true identity of the Zodiac Killer has yet to be discovered. The letter also contained a message from the Zodiac Killer. In it, he warned that he was going to start killing again and pick off the best of the best. He also claimed to have killed 2 people since the last letter and stated that he had cracked the code. The letter has been the source of much speculation since its discovery. It has been analyzed and studied for clues about the Zodiac Killer's identity and motives. There have been numerous theories about the identity of the Zodiac Killer, but no one has been able to conclusively prove who he was. Do you think the Zodiac Killer is still alive and has been able to evade capture? Or did he die and that is why his murders have stopped? Are we ever going to be able to decipher his identity? Let us know in the comments below and don't forget to like and subscribe.